We put so much effort into looking and feeling our best, right?
Oh, absolutely.
The expensive face creams, the grueling workouts,
Hmm.
always chasing, the next big thing in wellness.
Hmm.
But, it got me thinking, what if we've been looking in all the wrong places?
Okay.
What if the real key to that radiant skin, that boundless energy, that stable mood,
Mm.
what if it isn't some external fix, but something fundamental happening inside our own bodies?
Right.
Specifically, like within our digestive tract.
That's a really insightful question.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much the heart of our discussion today.
Yeah.
We tend to think of the gut as just, a processing plant for food.
Yeah.
But it's so much more than that.
It seems like it.
It's this powerful, often overlooked organ that has this huge influence on our beauty, our vitality, our
Yeah.
emotional well-being, our overall health, really.
Exactly. And for this deep dive, we've been digging into this fascinating article. It's called The Forgotten Organ That Controls How You Look and Feel. And what really jumped out at me is how it completely reframes, our understanding of the gut's role.
Yeah, it does.
It's not just about digestion, is it? It's like deeply connected to so many other parts of our health.
Absolutely. And for everyone listening, you want to get informed quickly, thoroughly, without getting totally lost in the weeds.
Right.
Our goal here is to pull out the most compelling insights from this research and really shine a light on that crucial connection between your gut and, how you experience the world, both inside and out.
Okay, so let's jump in. The article uses this term, the gut as the second brain. Now, that sounds a bit dramatic.
It does, doesn't it? But there's actually a solid basis for it.
Okay.
What's truly remarkable is the sheer complexity of the nerve network within your gut. We're talking over 100 million nerve cells,
Wow.
which is actually more than you have in your entire spinal cord.
More than the spinal cord. That really puts it in perspective.
It does. And this complex system, it's called the enteric nervous system. It can operate quite independently from your central nervous system.
Ah.
Hence the comparison, the second brain.
So it's not just sort of passively taking orders from our main brain then?
Not at all. There's this constant two-way street, information flowing back and forth, gut to brain, brain to gut, all the time.
Like butterflies in your stomach when you're nervous.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. Or how stress can suddenly cause, digestive upset.
Yeah, definitely felt that.
Those are very real examples of this gut-brain connection in action. It's like a continuous dialogue happening between these two major centers.
Right. Okay. So those gut feelings, they're more than just a metaphor.
Definitely seems that way.
So the article then argues we should think of the gut not just for digestion, but as, I like this, our body's beauty department, kind of working behind the scenes.
It's a great image, isn't it? And it fits because the gut's influence on how we look is surprisingly wide-ranging.
How does that actually work? How does the gut affect our appearance?
Well, let's start with the skin. That's often top of mind when we talk beauty, right?
For sure.
The article highlights something called the skin-gut axis.
Okay, skin-gut axis. What's that about?
Basically, the health of your gut has a direct, measurable impact on your skin's health and appearance.
Oh.
For instance, the article points out there's a really significant overlap between inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's or colitis and skin conditions like psoriasis or eczema. That strongly suggests there are shared inflammatory pathways involved.
That makes sense. It's like if one part of the body is inflamed, it can sort of trigger issues elsewhere.
Precisely. And it goes deeper than that, too.
Yeah.
The article mentions that imbalances in your gut bacteria, the technical term is dysbiosis.
Dysbiosis, right.
That state can actually be a trigger for acne breakouts. It's almost like an unhappy gut is sending out distress signals that show up on your skin.
So all those expensive creams and serums, they might just be like papering over the cracks if the real problem is internal.
That's a really important point. It could be. The article also gets into leaky gut.
Right. You mentioned that earlier.
Yeah, where the intestinal lining becomes more permeable than it should be. It sort of leaks.
Leaks what?
Allows inflammatory compounds to get into your bloodstream. And this systemic inflammation can then contribute to skin inflammation, maybe even speed up signs of aging.
Leaky gut. That sounds, a bit concerning. Could people have that and not even realize?
It's definitely a complex area, still being researched heavily. But the core idea is that if that gut barrier is compromised, it can have these ripple effects.
Okay.
And the article even mentions how gut dysbiosis can mess with sebum production, the oil on your skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah, potentially leading to either oily or dry skin issues. So when you're aiming for that healthy, coveted glow,
Yeah.
it really does seem to start from the inside with a balanced gut.
Wow. That's a real eye-opener. I've definitely just focused on topical stuff before. Okay, so skin, check. What about weight management? That's another huge factor in how we look and feel.
Right, and this brings up a really fascinating question. Why can people eat almost the same diet but have totally different results with their weight?
Yeah, exactly.
The article really emphasizes the critical role of your gut microbiome here. That huge community of trillions of bacteria living inside you.
Trillions. It's like a whole hidden world in there.
It really is. And what's wild is that certain types of bacteria are way more efficient at extracting calories from the exact same food compared to others. Get out.
Really?
Yeah. So someone whose gut is richer in these super efficient calorie extracting bacteria might actually absorb more energy from their meals, even if they're eating the same things as someone else.
That's mind-blowing. So it's not just about sheer willpower or counting every single calorie then.
Well, those things matter, of course.
Yeah.
But the makeup of your gut bacteria can significantly change the whole equation.
Oh.
The article also points out these bacteria can affect your metabolic rate and how your body tends to store fat. And beyond that, an imbalance in the gut can trigger inflammation. And that inflammation can actually disrupt the hormonal signals that control hunger and fullness. Ghrelin and leptin.
So an unhappy gut could actually make us feel hungrier or maybe less satisfied after eating?
That's the implication, yeah. And some bacteria can even influence how your body responds to insulin, which in turn affects where and how your body decides to store fat. It's way more intricate and personalized than that simple calories in, calories out idea we usually hear.
This is totally changing how I think about weight. Okay, so skin, weight.
Right.
What about hair? Does my gut health have anything to do with whether I have strong, healthy hair?
The article draws a clear line there, too. Makes sense when you think about it, right?
So.
Your hair follicles need specific nutrients to grow strong. Things like biotin, zinc, proteins.
The building block.
Exactly. And your gut is basically the gatekeeper for absorbing those essential building blocks from your food.
So even if I'm eating like a super healthy diet packed with hair nutrients, if my gut isn't working right, I might not actually be getting them.
Precisely. You might not be absorbing them efficiently.
Yeah.
And beyond just nutrients, the gut helps regulate inflammation systemically.
Inflammation again.
Yeah. Keeps coming out, doesn't it? And that inflammation can also impact the hair follicle growth cycle. An inflamed gut might contribute to scalp inflammation, which could hinder healthy hair growth.
Okay, that connects. It seems like inflammation is kind of the recurring villain here.
It often is, yeah.
Yeah.
Plus, the gut influences hormone balance, which is also key for hair thickness and growth patterns.
Right.
And finally, a healthy gut supports a strong immune system, which helps protect against scalp issues that can mess with your hair quality.
So healthy, vibrant hair. It really does start from within, too. It's all just so interconnected.
It really is.
Okay, so the gut is our inner beauty department. Got it. But the article also stresses its huge impact on how we feel, not just how we look. Let's get into that. Energy levels. That's a big one for so many people.
Oh, absolutely. That classic mid-afternoon slump, that feeling of just hitting a wall.
Yeah, know it well.
Your gut could be playing a really significant role there. Your gut microbes, they actually help break down and extract energy from complex carbs that our own bodies can't digest fully.
Fiber and stuff.
Exactly. They're doing extra work, unlocking more fuel from your food.
So the healthier and more diverse my gut bacteria are, the more energy I might get from what I eat. Is that the idea?
That's the general concept, yeah. And as these bacteria ferment these fibers, they produce something called short-chain fatty acids.
Okay.
These are like super fuel, not just for the cells lining your intestines, but they also contribute to your overall metabolic health.
Huh. Interesting.
Plus, the gut has an indirect influence on your mitochondria, the little power plants inside your cells.
Right. Cellular energy.
Yeah. And we can't forget vitamin B12, which is crucial for energy. Gut health affects how well you absorb that, too.
Wow, okay. So a sluggish or imbalanced gut could genuinely be contributing to feeling tired all the time.
It certainly could be a factor.
Okay, energy is vital, but mood, emotional well-being, just as important, right? The article highlights this really unexpected link between the gut and how we feel emotionally.
This is where it gets really, really fascinating. Your gut is actually a major production hub for neurotransmitters.
Like brain chemicals.
Exactly. those chemical messengers that massively influence your mood. In fact, the gut produces something like 90% of your body's serotonin.
90%?
Yep, 90%.
Of serotonin, the happiness hormone?
That's the one. Think about that. Most of what influences your daily mood isn't coming directly from your brain upstairs,
Wow.
but from this, like, bustling microbial city inside you. It really shifts how we might think about mood regulation, doesn't it?
That's incredible. I always just assumed serotonin was, mostly a brain thing.
It's a common misunderstanding. And the gut has its own complex network of neurons. Remember the enteric nervous system?
Yeah, the second brain.
It communicates directly with the brain through the vagus nerve. It's like the superhighway for information going back and forth.
Okay.
Plus, certain types of gut bacteria actually produce GABA.
What's that?
It's another neurotransmitter. It has a calming effect, helps reduce feelings of anxiety.
So the actual bacteria living in my gut could be making chemicals that calm me down.
Research is pointing very strongly in that direction, yes.
Yeah.
And the article also mentions how chronic gut inflammation might trigger or worsen symptoms of depression and other mood disorders.
It's just, yeah, mind-blowing that the balance of bacteria could impact my emotional state so deeply.
The connection between gut health and mental well-being it's a rapidly growing field. Super exciting research happening.
And the article mentions something called psychobiotics.
Yes, that's kind of the cutting edge right now. It's the field exploring how specific probiotic strains, specific beneficial bacteria might be used to actively support mental health. Maybe even become part of treatments for mood issues down the line.
Wow, that's amazing potential.
It really shows how powerful this connection is.
Absolutely fascinating. Okay, so gut affects beauty, energy, mood. What about the immune system? I feel like I've heard the gut is important there too.
You heard right. Very important. The article emphasizes that somewhere around 70 to 80% of your entire immune system actually resides in your gut.
70 to 80%? That's huge.
It's basically the body's primary defense headquarters.
Yeah.
Inside the gut wall, there's something called gut-associated lymphoid tissue, or GULGA.
Yeah.
It plays a crucial role in training your immune cells, teaching them to tell the difference between friendly bacteria and harmful invaders, like viruses or bad bacteria.
So the gut is like boot camp for the immune system.
That's a great way to put it, exactly. And your good gut bacteria themselves, they act like a living barrier. Right. They literally crowd out the pathogens that could make you sick. Safety in numbers.
Pretty much. And a balanced, diverse microbiome helps keep the immune system from overreacting. Helps prevent inappropriate responses like allergies or even autoimmune conditions.
Okay.
Plus, that healthy gut lining we talked about. It acts as a physical barrier, stopping widespread inflammation that can contribute to all sorts of chronic diseases.
It really sounds like a healthy gut is just fundamental, foundational for overall health and resilience.
It truly seems to be.
So, okay, given how incredibly influential it is, how do we actually fix it? How do we restore and nurture this forgotten beauty organ?
Well, the good news is there's a lot we can actually do. It's quite empowering.
Yep.
And the article rightly puts diet right at the top. It's the foundation.
Makes sense. What we eat feeds our gut microbes, right?
Directly. What you consistently put in has a massive impact on that whole ecosystem inside you.
Okay, so what are the key dietary things we should focus on?
Number one, according to the article, diversify your plants. Big time.
More plants?
Yeah. Aim for 30 or more different types of plant foods every week. 30. Wow. Okay. That's specific.
Yeah, it is, but it's a great target. It dramatically increases the diversity and resilience of your microbiome. Think fruits, veggies, legumes, nuts, seeds, herbs, all the different colors and types.
30 different plants a week. Okay, that's a good challenge. What else diet-wise?
Embrace fermented foods. That's another big one.
Like yogurt, kimchi?
Exactly. Yogurt with live cultures, kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, kombucha. These are packed with beneficial bacteria, probiotics that can directly boost your gut health.
Yeah, fermented foods are definitely having a moment, aren't they?
They are, for good reason. And then there's fiber. We know fiber is important, but specifically prebiotic fiber.
Prebiotic, what's the difference?
Prebiotics are basically food for your good gut bacteria. They feed the beneficial microbes already living there.
Okay, so probiotics add good bugs. Prebiotics feed the ones we have.
You got it. Good sources are things like onions, garlic, leeks, asparagus, Jerusalem artichokes, even slightly unripe bananas.
Okay, feed the good guys. Makes sense. What should we avoid?
The article advises cutting back significantly on ultra-processed foods.
No surprise there, I guess.
Right. A lot of the additives, emulsifiers, artificial sweeteners, preservatives, they can really disrupt that delicate gut balance. They're just not things our microbes evolved with.
Yeah, that tracks. Anything else on the food front?
One more thing mentioned is polyphenols.
Polyphenols?
Yeah, these are beneficial plant compounds. You find them in colorful berries, green tea, dark chocolate.
Ooh, dark.
In moderation.
Right.
And even red wine, again, moderation is key. But these polyphenols seem to encourage the growth of good bacteria too.
Okay, so basically, eat a huge variety of colorful plants, include fermented foods, focus on prebiotic fiber, and cut the ultra-processed stuff. Sounds like a solid plan.
It's a fantastic foundation.
Yeah.
But the article also makes it clear it's not just about food. Lifestyle matters a lot.
Right. Like what?
Well, managing stress is huge. Chronic stress really does a number on your gut. It can affect the gut lining's permeability, that leaky gut thing again, and change the actual composition of your bacteria.
Easier said than done sometimes, but yeah. Important to be mindful of stress.
Definitely. And sleep. Prioritizing consistent quality sleep is vital.
How does sleep affect the gut?
Studies show even just a few nights of bad sleep can negatively impact your microbiome diversity. Aiming for that regular 7-8 hours makes a difference.
So pulling an all-nighter isn't just bad for my brain, it's bad for my gut too.
Seems that way. And movement. Regular physical activity is another key factor.
How does exercise help?
It's consistently shown to increase microbial diversity and also improve gut motility, how quickly things move through.
Okay, keep things moving. Got it.
And the article also mentions being careful with antibiotics.
Right. Necessary sometimes, but...
Exactly. They can be lifesavers, but they're like bombs going off in your microbiome. They kill the bad guys, but also a lot of the good guys. And it can take months for things to rebalance.
Good reminder to only use them when really needed. What about that point about nature? That was interesting.
Yeah, connecting with nature. Exposure to the diverse microbes in soil, on plants, just in the natural environment, it can actually help build a more resilient internal ecosystem.
So gardening or hiking is good for my gut microbes.
Seems like it. It diversifies your own microbial exposure.
I love that. Okay, so diet, stress, sleep, movement, careful antibiotic use, nature. Oh, that's a lot. What about supplements? The article have touched on those too.
Yeah, it did. While diet and lifestyle are absolutely the main pillars,
The foundation, yeah.
targeted supplements can sometimes offer extra support, especially if someone's gut needs, a bit more help getting back on track.
Like probiotics.
Probiotics is the obvious one, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's important to know they're not all the same. Different strains do different things, so choosing the right one matters.
So maybe talk to a doctor or a practitioner about specific strains.
That's usually a good idea. Then there are digestive enzymes. They can sometimes help if someone's having a lot of bloating or discomfort, especially when changing their diet. And things like L-glutamine. It's an amino acid that helps repair the gut lining cells. Collagen can provide building blocks for that repair too. And zinc carnosine shows promise for supporting gut barrier integrity.
So quite a few options, but they're seen as support, not replacements for the diet and lifestyle stuff.
Exactly. That's the crucial point. They work best alongside, not instead of, that solid foundation of healthy eating and living.
Wow. This has been incredibly illuminating, seriously. It's amazing to realize just how much our gut, this part of us we barely think about, is really running the show behind the scenes, dictating so much about how we look and maybe even more importantly, how we actually feel day to day. That forgotten beauty organ idea really hits home.
It absolutely does. And I think the key takeaway for everyone listening is that genuine radiance, that sustainable energy, that balanced mood, that strong immunity, it really does start from the inside out.
Yeah.
Nurturing your gut health isn't just about digestion. It's a fundamental investment in your long-term well-being. It affects everything, from your skin clarity to your mental sharpness to your resilience against illness.
It really makes you stop and reconsider, doesn't it? Maybe the most powerful beauty treatment, the best energy booster, the most reliable mood support. Maybe it isn't found in a bottle or a program, but in cultivating that amazing inner ecosystem.
That intricate community of microbes within us.
Yeah. Maybe the next big frontier in health and beauty is actually rediscovering and really nurturing this vital, forgotten organ right at our core. It gives a whole new meaning to inner beauty, doesn't it?
A much deeper meaning, for sure.